Without further ado, Denise Goldbeck.
You know what I'm doing? I'm fubbing. I'm snubbing you with my phone. It's called fubbing. It's a new word, fubbing. It's a new world. Maybe it's a new social skill. Fubbing. I'm Denise Goldbeck, and I'm the founder and executive director of a foundation that's dedicated to teaching social interaction skills to children, teens, and their families. And we want to put a stop to fubbing. Yeah. My foundation's called All Stages Education Foundation, and it houses 3 programs, all youth-led, and that's really a special feature of our work. Youth are leading the programs. I'm just the mentor. The programs are Kids in the Spotlight, Launch Youth Leadership, and Families in the Spotlight. And in our programs, our young people, they take participants of all ages and teach them social interaction skills, leadership skills, and importantly, about their own development, which is something we don't really get a lot of in our schools. And kids crave this knowledge about their own development. Now, how do we do this? Well, we use the performing arts and games, and we have a youth culture. The youth have created their own culture, a special culture. And in that culture, they embrace ethics for their own sake. They have empathy for themselves and compassion for others. It's really beautiful. And I've been doing this since 1983, and I've seen thousands of children, teens, parents. It's been so rewarding, so much fun. I can't tell you. But since 2010, I've been having some worries regarding our social interaction skills with our young people, regarding social media use, maybe problematic social media use, and even social media addiction. And yes, I've seen a lot of fubbing too. So I have grave concerns about surveillance marketing, predatory algorithms, and the impact on the identity and personal courage on our young people when so much communication has gone online. What kinds of things have I been seeing? Well, let's say Betty runs into Veronica in front of the lockers at school on Monday morning, and Veronica invites her to a party at Lodge Manor for Friday night. Betty doesn't want to go because she's worried that Archie might be there. But she says yes anyway. Come Friday afternoon, late Friday afternoon, last thing, Betty shoots Veronica a text. Sorry, Veronica, I can't come to your party after all. Sad face. Something came up. Sad face, sad face. So that's called flaking, right? Have you ever been flaked on? Yes. Done some flaking yourself? Yes. It's so easy, right? So one of the ways that I like to think about this as a developmentalist is something called communication apprehension. Communication apprehension is a term that was created in the 80s, and it was referring to the fear, dread, and anxiety that we experience when we speak in front of a whole group full of people. But nowadays, that same communication apprehension is being measured in young people when they're just speaking to one other person face to face. Just one other person. They're even afraid to talk on the phone. The intimacy of the voice is quite revealing, right? So communication apprehension is so strong that our kids are forming the habits of just texting when it comes to saying something tough, when it comes to having a difficult conversation, and maybe there's something that they have to say that they're worried might not be well received. So when the going gets tough, they text, further weakening their confidence. And you don't need me to tell you that this vicious cycle has been deepened with our struggle with the recent pandemic. So what can we do? Well, one of the things that we can do is we can directly teach social interaction skills to kids the way we do in my program. When I started doing this back in the 80s, I had no idea it would become so crucial for mental health nowadays. And yet it really is. And how do we do this? We need to make the programs fun when we're teaching social interaction skills to kids now. We have to teach them things like listening, eye contact, turn taking, topic shifting, perspective taking, things we just used to leave to the wild. But we have to directly teach this now. And we need young people to do it. Why do the programs need to be youth-led? Well, it's been my learning over my career that the best person to teach a young person a new thing is another slightly older young person who has just learned that thing. That slightly older person can understand what's going on and can reach down and give a hand up and help that person. And both of those parties benefit from that experience. That's our secret ingredient to how to make this work. And so if Betty, for instance, were to come to one of our programs, she would be guided gently by a slightly older person, and her social interaction skills would improve, and she would have fun, and then she would turn around and help someone else. So can our young people handle this? I believe they can. They'll need our help, but I believe in them. And I know parents are worried. At one of my programs the other day, a father came up to me and said, Denise, I want you to set a rule that there should be no phones in this session. And I said, that's not up to me. That's up to the youth leaders who are running the session. He wasn't too happy with me. But I hold those youth leaders able to handle that. And how do they do it? They do it with culture. Not with a rule, but with culture. They have a youth culture. And with that culture, they all just gently place their phones on a table at the back of the room before every session. And they sit in a circle and they gaze at one another and they talk and they have some very challenging conversations and sharings. Very well done. But this doesn't mean we can leave these things up to the youth leaders or our youth to just handle social media problems all by themselves. We need to create some social interaction programs that directly teach these things to our young people, by young people. And we need to do it right away. What we want is for Betty to come up to Veronica and say, Veronica, I'm sorry, I can't make your party. Or even more vulnerably, you know, Veronica, I'm scared to come because I'm worried Archie might be there. She's going to feel a lot of communication apprehension when she says those things to Veronica. But with some training and some experience, she's going to be able to overcome that fear, overcome that dread, increase her personal courage, and build a life where she can talk to anyone, anywhere. Thank you.